The release of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse has a tremendous reception to say the least, climbing to the highest rating on Letterboxd, beating out Elementals on their opening week despite being 2 weeks into release. It would be fair to say this is the winner for Best Animated Picture, and the reason for this is the methods of storytelling. The visual far exceeds any modern animated releases. Their multitude of art styles give every scene its own palette. It manages to push our expectations far beyond Into the Spider-Verse, which had already contributed to the rejuvenation of animation. Some critiques of the film are the visuals are purely for eye candy and the only reason why the film received praises, which is false by any means. The visuals are actively telling a story, most notably in Gwen's dimension. The color palette in that universe reflects the character's emotion in the scene and is confirmed by the animators to be their intention. They utilize color psychology to represent the emotions and the conflict between characters. Every decision is used to enhance their story and serves a purpose. The visual complement the writing, which is as strong as they come. The writing not only makes this film great, but it further improves the previous. It incorporates elements from the last film and expands on them. The glitching from the Spider 42 was an intentional choice that most viewers overlooked, and in this film, it was paid off. The bagel effect is a prominent example of this payoff. From what seems to be a visual gag, they managed to give it value in the story. All of the elements tied together to enhance the last film while also making the sequel great. The film's theme is also a continuation of the last, further exploring the path of maturing. They continue to give great takes on growing up, the pillar of what makes a Spider-Man story, and at the same time also reflects on the reception of Miles Morales. The most common criticism is Miles Morales is not Spider-Man, claiming is unfit for the mantle, and the writer's response, anyone can be Spider-Man and everyone's path is different. A direct response to the backlash as well as a lesson for the youth, teaching them it's okay to do your own thing and it's okay to achieve success the way you want. Getting back on topic, the writing also gives great exploration into the characters. There is not one moment where the motivations of the characters were questioned or out of character. Everything was set up in previous scenes that lead to great payoffs. The best example of this is Hobie Brown. From the get-go, he was trying to help Miles. He knew the reason why he won't be allowed in the Spider Society and actively tries to change his mind. He plants pieces in his head to help him decide for himself. The same conclusion Miles comes to for himself. Miles needs to decide for himself, something he wasn't allowed to do. In this film, he is constantly told he's just a kid and he thinks otherwise. In fact, the first film, it was the exact opposite. His dad was giving him more responsibility, saying he was basically an adult and needs to pick up the slack. However, in Across the Spider-Verse, this is flipped around. Miles is finally willing to pick up that responsibility and he wishes to have the freedom that comes with it. But he is faced with many adults in his life telling him he is not old enough to decide for himself. His dad, his mom, Miguel, and Peter all try to convince Miles he doesn't understand, but he does. And it is everyone else that doesn't understand. He needs to be set free to become the person he can be. He can't and doesn't want to be held back. He needs to, and I quote, spread his wings. If this doesn't capture the essence of growing up, I don't know what does. It's a feeling shared amongst many teenagers that wish to do something great but is limited by their parents who want the best for them but don't always understand what is best for them. And the best part, Jefferson comes to this realization at the end, but it also shows he respects Spider-Man, in turn Miles, by taking the suggestion. And I haven't even mentioned the allegory for gender identity or just self-identity. They managed to fit so many elements of what a modern teenager may go through all within a Spider-Man story. This is why the story is so powerful, because it's not only for teenagers or children, it's also for adults. They can sympathize with it having already gone through this as well as applying this in their parenting. Now, on to the next masterpiece. Sound is a very important part of films in general. The addition of audio transformed the film industry, allowing for voices, sound effect, and music to be in films. The score by Daniel Pemberton is great once again. The themes for each character perfectly match, and the music once again complements each scene. It's just brilliant. The heroic moments having Miles' motif, the increasing of intensity in the synths during action pieces, the smooth and slow music during emotional scenes, and the loud blaring synth in Miguel's theme to highlight similarity to the Prowler. The uncomfortable music used between Miles and Gwen is used again when Miles is in the wrong dimension. All of the choices with the score really sells the emotion in each scene, and we've yet to mention the album. The soundtrack for this movie is nothing special in terms of music, but the selection that were placed in the film are perfect and immaculate. One example of this is Hummingbird. It is a mirror reflection of Miles' headspace. He wishes more than anything to be with Gwen, Peter, and all of his spider friends, but more specifically Gwen for obvious reasons. After the lyrics, realizing she might be all I need in this life, it cuts to Miles looking at a sketch of Gwen in his book. As a wise man once said, "This is cinema." The emotion of this scene is clear as glass. Then the next moment she comes through a portal, fulfilling that desire to be with her again. The next songs following that are Mona Lisa and Another Dimension. The line in Mona Lisa, "Over my heels and falling over my head," is played right when they were swinging upside down. This is Shakespearean literature. Everything in this film works in unison to complement each other in a way no other film has been able to achieve in recent times. Not even Guardians of the Galaxy can match this level of connection because these songs are perfectly tailored to the movie rather than spliced in. And I wish that more movies with soundtracks can reach this level of harmony. In conclusion, this is by far the best animated film because of its storytelling in visual, writing, and sound. Considering the expectation they have set previously, they had all the reasons to fail, but in the end, they did not disappoint. Looking forward to Beyond the Spider-Verse.